Dear friends, now that I have regained control over my Telegram channels, it is time for a short message to those who are confused because of the recent rumors surrounding the Berlin Corona Investigative Committee. In a long interview with the Swiss alternative media channel Bitte TV, which was interrupted by a disturbing statement of the co-founder of the Corona Investigative Committee, I have already said what I have to say. The allegations of this co-founder of the Corona Investigative Committee are completely fabricated and false. Accordingly, the German mainstream media just reported that the Berlin DA's office explicitly stated that there's no cause for a criminal investigation. So, trust your instincts and look at the facts that are available. Also, I will continue the work of the committee with my own version of it, a much more professional one. This continuation of the committee's work will broaden the scope of the investigation, and it will show concepts for overcoming the corrupt, collapsing system. Its new name will be International Crimes Investigative Committee, ICIC. However, there are three things that I believe need extra emphasis in this ongoing fight for humanity. Number one, despite the fact that working on the Corona Investigative Committee has always been very difficult, we have, I believe, done a pretty good job at getting to the truth about Corona. It is not a pandemic, but rather a plandemic that is driven by intentional panic-mongering and the misuse of the PCR test to create cases that never existed. This plandemic is only one tool out of the toolbox of those who are behind this. And behind this are a few super-rich people, megalomaniac psychopaths, as the experts on psychology and psychiatry whom we interviewed have explained to us. They have used and are using global corporations and global NGOs who meet once a year in Davos on the platform of the World Economic Forum as a means to complete a hostile takeover of our politicians and public agencies under the guise of the nice-sounding term of private-public partnerships. The other side, as I call them, or Mr. Global, as Catherine Austin Fitts calls them, know that many people do not believe the dangerous virus story anymore. Monkeypox turned out to be a complete failure, a non-starter. They are on the defensive, but they have more in their toolbox to keep us in panic mode, that is, in a mental condition that will make many of us follow any order they're given. The Ukraine crisis, global warming, food shortages, and energy shortages are only the best known of their panic-mongering tools. The ultimate goal of these psychopathic megalomaniacs is to gain full control over all of us by reducing the population and enslaving the survivors through the introduction of a one-world government and a one-world digital currency, both under their control, of course. Number two, these, the above mentioned, are the topics we should worry about and that need to be exposed so that even those who have initially fallen victim to their psychological terrorism but are now beginning to ask questions will get answers and will get help if that becomes necessary. Let us not be distracted by irrelevant sideshows, especially when it's just another, albeit carefully created illusion without any substance whatsoever. Number three, and finally, of course we will win this war that is being waged against all humanity. There's no doubt in my mind that those who are trying to destroy humanity and are trying to play God are doomed. But there's no single person or single institution that will be able to single-handedly put an end to this. This time, we, all of us humans together, are going to have to be the cavalry. And there are only two things that really matter. The first one is that we need to understand that this is not the Russians against the Americans, the French against the Germans, black against white, women against men, or the vaccinated against the unvaccinated. Instead, it is all of us humans against the monstrous criminals that are doing everything they can to drive us against each other so that our attention is distracted from their evil doings. The second thing that matters is this. I believe that we're really close to a tipping point and that we may even have already won the war. That is why the other side, Mr. Global, is now out of control, literally running amok. But we need to be clear about this. The other side cannot and will not give up, as there are two creditors demanding payment for their crimes against humanity. One of the two creditors is us and our judiciary, which, if it becomes necessary, will be of our own, that is, the people's own creation, outside of their corrupt system. The other creditor is what I call the higher spiritual powers, others call it God. It's probably the same. And those who play God never went unpunished, if I remember correctly. Oh, and just one more thing, as Columbo used to say. This past weekend, Professor Sushrit Bhakti and I had the privilege and honor to be invited to Athens, the cradle of democracy, by the Greek healthcare workers who refused to participate in these crimes against humanity and lost their jobs as a result. Professor Bhakti explained in great detail how very grave the situation is, that this is a matter of life and death, and serious changes in our personalities, in particular with respect to the effects of the mRNA shots. I summarized the findings of the Corona Investigative Committee and how the legal efforts of a growing number of combative attorneys are now, in some parts of the world, becoming more and more successful. I ended my presentation with the same words I'm using here. Some people crack under pressure. I do not, and I will not. And I'd like to add, the same is true for the Greek healthcare workers, and the same is true for each and every one of you. Trust your instincts, look at the facts, and you'll see through all of this, through each and every mask.